stars are right, and that means it's time for another episode of The Whisper in Darkness. I'm your host, the Man from Lang. Thank you very much for joining me today. This is part 2 of our A Phantom of Truth double bill today. This is going to be the A Phantom of Truth playthrough, but we're doing it in conviction mode this time, which changes up the game a little bit for those of you who have watched the A Phantom of Truth Doubt playthrough. In that particular scenario, you want to track down the organist and defeat him 3 times, so you can put 3 clues on him and complete the scenario. In this, in conviction mode, you are on the run from the organist, and you need to try to survive 3 nights on the streets of Paris, with not just the organist chasing you, but as well as a horde of Bayaki. For those of you who haven't watched the first A Phantom of Truth Doubt, here is the deck I'm using. It's based on Dadu 13's Sleuth Enforcer deck. It's got Magnifying Art, Student Deduction, Working a Hunch in there to help me gather clues. It's got a copy of Forewarned and Dr. William T. Mallison for some encounter deck control. And it's got a copy of Shortcut and 2 copies of Pathfinder in order for mobility's sake, and mobility is supremely important when you're playing this scenario. And so I'm really hoping to see a copy of Pathfinder as early as possible. And of course I've got the 45 automatic, 2 machetes, and Roland's 38 special in there for combat, and 2 copies of dodge in case it all goes wrong. We're set up in Octagon, and we are ready to go. Now this scenario is obviously different than the Doubt one. As I've said, in this one you are trying to survive 3 nights in Paris. You're trying to evade the organist, which is hopeless. I defied him. He's got 5 combat or 5 fight and 3 evade. He's a humanoid avatar and elite. He's a hunter. He cannot be damaged. And he has basically double hunter. Forced after the organist moves from the hunter keyword. If it is unengaged, resolve its hunter keyword again. But the organist cannot attack this phase if you resolve his things twice. So he can be very quick, and you need to try to stay away from him the best you can. Now, I have found when I've played this scenario, ideally what you want to end up in, I'm just going to show you quickly here, is this sort of setup. You want to end up with the organist at Notre Dame and you at Gare d'Orsay, because what you can do then is you can use the action on Gare d'Orsay to spend a resource to move up to Montmartre, because it's a rail location. During the enemy phase, the organist will move up here, and then you can take your next turn to take 2 actions, hopefully, to get back to Gare d'Orsay. Or if you've got a shortcut or Pathfinder, you can get back to Gare d'Orsay and move the organist back to Notre Dame. And if you can keep this sort of system going, if you can keep this setup going where you're bouncing back and forth between Montmartre and Gare d'Orsay, and the organist is bouncing back and forth between Le Marais and Notre Dame, you can mitigate some of the running you have to do, and you can keep him you can keep the organist at arm's length. Now, of course, when the agenda deck advances, that will screw things up, because you may move, but the organist also moves. So it can be tricky. If you can get this sort of setup established, it's not going to last forever, because the agenda deck will disrupt it, and then you can try to get it set up again. The other issue, of course, is when Agenda 3A, you advance to Agenda 3A, Jordan Perry shows up, and he is a hunter as well. So then you've got 2 hunters on your tail, and then it gets a little bit trickier. And at that point, I think your best bet is just to try to to dump as many. You can use the ability on, I believe it's Act 2A, to add Doom to the agenda, and so you want to burn through that third agenda as quickly as you can. So that's basically what I'm going to be trying to aim for in this playthrough, is to get this triangle set up so I'm staying away from the organist and I'm able to bounce around. Sounds good in theory. Let's see if we can put it into practice. Roland Banks starts at Gare d'Orsay. It's a 4-shroud location with 1 clue, and it's got the action, spend 1 resource, move to any rail location. Our agenda is 1A, the first night. As you step off the train in Gare d'Orsay, the sun sinks below the Paris skyline. You cannot waste any time. If Nigel Ingram is somewhere in Paris, you have to find him and wring the answers from him one way or another. Now, this text doesn't affect the doubt version of this scenario, but it does affect the conviction one. While you have more conviction than doubt, this agenda gains when checking the doom threshold of doom on cards other than this agenda. Subtract from the total doom in play instead of adding to it. So cards like Spires of Carcosa, which add 2 doom in play, actually will subtract from the doom instead of adding to it, thus making the night that much longer. So trying to either avoid getting a Spires on the table or dealing with the Spires when it hits the table can be very helpful to just making sure that this agenda speeds up as fast as you go through the agendas as fast as you can. This is what makes this scenario unique, in that you're actually wanting the agenda to advance for once. You really want to burn through it as quickly as you can. Act 1A is the Parisian Conspiracy version 2. And this is, you pass the Church of St. Barnabé as you exit the train station and cannot help but overhear the organ playing. Is there a sermon this late in the evening? You marvel at the wild and strange chords for a moment before continuing. Paris is a big city, and you have very few leads. It has the objective: spend the requisite number of clues to advance, which is 2 per investigator. And it also has the objective at the end of the round: if there are 3 or more doom in play, you advance. Now, the benefit of advancing with clues is that the organist starts in play at the opposite end of Paris from you, so you get a bit of a head start. Otherwise, he starts in play with you or very close to you, and that would be very bad. So we're going to try to advance with clues as quickly as we can. We're playing a Phantom of Truth on standard difficulty as usual. The skulls are -X, where X is the amount of doom in play, to a maximum of 5. So this can vary anywhere from a whiff to a -5, which could be quite painful. I had to add a random cultist, tablet, or elder thing to the bag. I drew a random number, and once again I got cultist, which is -2, and if you fail, move each unengaged Bayaki in play once toward the nearest investigator. As with the doubt playthrough in standalone mode, you don't have to add Lost Soul, the Weakness Madness Pact, to your deck, but I am going to do that just because I'm trying to mimic as closely to a campaign game as possible, and this doesn't really affect Roland that badly. It does damage if he fails, but it does. There is the yellow sign in the encounter deck that will pull this from your deck. So I don't see I've been playing this standalone with Lost Soul in my deck all the time, and it hasn't really bothered me. During the doubt playthrough, we did have Haunted as our weakness, so I think just for consistency's sake, since everything else is basically the same, we might as well play with Haunted again. Normally I would draw a random weakness, but since we played with Haunted the last time, we'll play with Haunted again just for consistency's sake. We will shuffle up our deck. I think we are ready to draw our opening hand. Obviously, in our opening hand, I would like an art student, would be ideal, so we can grab this clue, or a working the hunch, and of course Pathfinder is going to be massively important in this game, because that free move every turn is vital to staying ahead of the organist and all the other monsters in this encounter deck, since they are all hunters. Shuffle up our deck. Let's draw our opening hand, see where we stand to begin the game. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to mention is that if I draw cover up, my signature weakness, I am going to try to clear it if at all possible. Again, just to try to mimic what I would do in a campaign game to avoid that mental trauma. So I'm going to try to clear. If I draw cover up, normally in a standalone game you could just ignore it because it has no effect. But I'm going to try to actively clear it. So let's draw our hand here. We get a working the hunch, a vicious blow, the lost soul hunted, and a gun. I'm going to pitch the... Well, let's do the weaknesses first. We get to redraw for those first of all. There's a machete and the man in the pallid mask. Okay, this is a nice hand actually. We've got working a hunch, Malison, and a machete. Okay, so we'll mulligan the gun and the vicious blow. There's a shortcut and another copy of Malison. Okay, so we'll shuffle those back into our deck. Pretty decent hand. Yeah, so we are ready to begin. We'll gain our 3 actions. First action we are going to get, we're going to spend 3 for the machete. Second action we are going to spend 1 for Malison. Now we need that Pathfinder as quickly as we can, so I'm going to use my third action to draw a card here. I'm hoping we can get that into play as quickly as possible. And there is cover up. Okay, so that's gonna we're gonna try to get rid of that if we can. It's gonna make things a little tricky this early in the game, but we'll see. There are some good places to try to clear that if we can. That's gonna be our first turn. So we will go to the upkeep phase. We will draw a card. There's another working the hunch. Okay. Gain a resource, and we will add our first doom. And our first encounter card is Hunting Shadow. Peril. Revelation. You must either choose 1, spend 1 clue, or take 2 damage. I don't have any clues, so I am taking 2 damage. As you're probably aware, there are cards you have to remove from the encounter deck, whether you're playing the Doubt or Conviction mode. In Doubt, you remove the Hunting Shadows as well as the Twin Suns from the deck, but since we're playing Conviction this time, we remove the False Leads and the Black Stars Rise from the deck. So, but the Twin Suns just delay the advance of the agenda even further. So. Okay, second turn. Let's see what we can do here. I think I'm going to spend 2 resources to grab this clue. That's a free action. Second action, I'm going to move down to Montparnasse. It's a 2-shroud location with 1 clue, and it has the free trigger. Discard a card from your hand. Gain resources equal to the number of willpower icons on the discarded card. Limit once per round. Third action. Now, I'm going to clear... we need to add some clues to cover up here, first of all. I'm going to try to clear cover up, but I do want to flip this agenda, or this act, because it is helpful to flip it using clues rather than the doom. So we will investigate 3 versus 2 as our second action. Chaos Bag says -1, so we do get it. Okay. And we will advance. So, Act 1B is True Evil. If you spent clues to advance, the organ you heard earlier continues to haunt you. No matter where you are, the torturous chords play over and over in your head. The sensation that you are being watched tugs at your mind. Spawn the set-aside organist enemy at the location farthest from all investigators. With his hopeless I defied him side face up, and we advance to 2A, stalked by shadows. So where do we want to put him? He is 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3. So we can put him either at the Grand Guignol or Canal Saint-Martin. He's going to double move. We can actually set up to... Now we need to think about this, because if we move back to Gare d'Orsay right now, he is going to chase us. But we can get it. We can get that strategy I was talking about earlier set up if we can. If we place him at Canal Saint-Martin. So that's where this guy is going to go. This guy's a lot meaner on his hopeless I defied side. He resolves that hunter keyword twice, and he does do 3 sanity if he tags you. So Roland cannot afford to get hit by this guy at all, really. If Roland gets hit by this organist, he's gonna be in deep trouble. So we do advance to Act 2A. Act 2A is stalked by shadows. This is different from the doubt, obviously. I knew that every time I met him brought him nearer to the accomplishment of his purpose and my fate, and still I tried to save myself. And that's a quote from Robert W. Chambers in The Court of the Dragon, from the novella The King in Yellow. It includes The King in Yellow actually includes a bunch of short stories, some of which talk about The King in Yellow, obviously, and there are a couple in there that really don't have anything to do with it. If you haven't read it, you can go to YouTube and listen to it as an ebook, or as someone read it to you. It's the stories are pretty cool. I'd highly recommend it. It can really set the mood for this for the game. It has the free trigger, spend 1 clue per investigator as a group. You can either place 1 doom on the current agenda or automatically evade the organist, group limit once per round. And our objective is survive 3 nights. Do not advance until instructed. So now the chase is definitely on. We need to survive 3 nights. We've got 15 doom to go, plus any that we can add. This guy is going to double move on us, so we are going to need to get away from him. We have 1 action remaining. I'm going to spend that to draw a card. There's our Elder Sign Amulet. So the organist, he moves once with Hunter, and then he moves again. We go to the upkeep. We draw a card. There's a magnifying glass. We gain a resource. Did I gain 2? I gained 2. Gain a resource, and we advance. We add a doom. Let's see what our enemy I don't want enemies now. I need to run. Let's see what our encounter card is. It is Torturous Chords. That is going to be test 5 versus 3, and if we fail, we put Torturous Chords into play in our threat area with 1 resource on it for each point we fail by. Each time you play a card, increase the cost of that card by 1 and remove 1 resource from Torturous Chords. If it has no resources on it, you discard it. We're going 3 versus 5. I'm content to leave it at that. And we get a -1, so we have 3 resources on Torturous Chords. Alright, chase begins. So we are going to move. What we're going to do, we are going to use our... Do we need to use the shortcut? No, we don't. Okay. We're going to take our first action to move back to Gare d'Orsay. Oh, my strategy. How did... Oh, I know where... No, my strategy was he needs to be at Garden Luxembourg, I think. Yeah, he needs to be at the gardens. Okay, so that changes... Yeah. Sorry about that. I screwed up when I was talking about my strategy. The organist needs to be at the Gardens Luxembourg, so you can rotate him between Le Marais and the garden, and you rotate between Montmartre and Gare d'Orsay. That's the strategy I was looking at. My apologies for that. So we want to move one more time so we can... it looks like right now we could rotate between Opera Garnier and Gardens, and he'll rotate between Notre Dame and Montmartre. So we're going to use our second action going to move up to Opera Garnier. It's a 6 shroud location with 1 clue, and while you are investigating Opera Garnier, double the base value of your skill. So we are actually a 6 versus 3, or we're investigating with an intellect of 6 versus 6 here. Do I want to spend the resource? Because it's going to cost us a resource. You know what? I think getting that Pathfinder into play is much more important. So we are going to draw a card. So we will use our third action to draw a card. There is an Unexpected Courage. Okay. We go to the enemy phase. Now the organist can go Gardens, Gare d'Orsay, or he can go Le Marais, Montmartre. I'm going to move him Le Marais, Montmartre. So I'm going to try to cycle between Opera Garnier and the Gardens. It's not ideal. I'd prefer if I was at Gare d'Orsay and he was at Montmartre, but we'll see what we can do here. Okay, that was the enemy phase. We draw a card. There's a emergency cache. We gain a resource. We add a doom, and let's draw our next encounter card. Oh, there's a Spires, and that is in a really rotten spot. That is a terrible spot for a Spires of Carcosa. Spires of Carcosa, of course, revelation attached to your location, then place 2 doom on that location. If there is no doom on attached location, discard Spires of Carcosa. And you may take an action to investigate. If you succeed, instead of discovering clues here, remove 1 doom from the attached location. So we need to try... Now, they will subtract from this, so there's actually only 1 doom on the agenda. which is just going to make this night go that much longer. So now we need to try, if we can, to get away. So we've got basically 3 things we need to do now. We need to try to get rid of these doom. That is important. We need to stay 1 step ahead of the organist, which is also important. We need to also try to clear cover up, which is also important. Cover up, we've got some time. I mean, we've got 15 turns or something at this point still because of spires. So we can worry about that as we go. I think what I'm going to do, spend my first action. I could go, yeah, I'm just going to move. Second action, I'm going to move to Gardens of Luxembourg. It's a 3-shroud location with 1 clue, and while a Bayaki enemy is moving, if there is an investigator at Gardens of Luxembourg, that enemy's location is considered to be connected to Gardens of Luxembourg. It's worth a victory point. We've got an action left. I'm still drawing for Pathfinder because I really want that card. So my third action is going to be to draw. And there's the Pathfinder. Okay, nice. We go to the enemy phase. Organist can either go to d'Orsay or Notre Dame. He'll double hunt over to Notre Dame. So it's going to cost us 4 resources to get Pathfinder into play. So we are going to draw a card. There's our so we got both copies of Pathfinder. Double Pathfinder. Now that is definitely interesting. I need to discard some cards though. I'm going to ditch my second copy of the Doctor. Now, what is the other card we get rid of? That is a tough question. I don't know, is double Pathfinder too much to ask? It's a big ask in resources. I think I'm going to get rid of a Working the Hunch. We're going to go for double Pathfinder if we can get it. It's a bit expensive, especially with this Torturous Chords out, but I think we might be able to do it. Okay, have we gained a resource? We have not gained a resource. We will do that now. And we will add a Doom. Next encounter card is, there is a Stealthy Bayaki. Okay. Stealthy Bayaki, of course, has 5 fight, 2 health, and 3 evade. Monster Bayaki Hunter, and while the Stealthy Bayaki is exhausted, it gets -3 fight. We need to kill it if we want to continue. We can also, so what are we? We are a 4-5 versus 5. But we just need to tag it once to kill that thing. I think that's what we're going to do. We will commit the Unexpected Courage to go 7 versus 5. Chaos Bag says -2. Nice. Okay. Close, but the Bayaki is dead. Good stuff. Okay, we can use our response to gain this clue. I am not going to gain the I'm not going to do that. I'm going to actually get rid of one here on cover up. Then I'm going to use my next two actions to move from Gare d'Orsay to Gare d'Orsay and then back up to Opera Garnier. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. It's been a long time since we spoke French up here on the plateau. Okay, hunt the again. We can use the organist to double hunt. He'll go Le Marais Montmartre. We've only got 2 doom on the agenda, so that's an issue. Draw a card. There is a dodge. That's nice to see. We will gain a resource, and we will advance the agenda. Not advance the agenda. We'll add a doom. Let's do that. So 5 of 6, but there's actually only 3. Draw an encounter card, which is marked by the sign. It's peril, it's a pact, revelation, test 2 willpower. If you fail, take 2 horror. If the man in the pallid mask is in play, horror dealt by this effect is considered direct horror, and the test difficulty is +2. Okay, so we are at 3 versus 2 for 2 horror. We'll just take it straight up. 3 versus 2. And that's a -2, so we're taking 2 horror. Do we cash him in? If I take a horror on myself, the screeching Bayakis become really difficult to deal with. I'm going to just discard Dr. William T. He will take that hit for me. We get 3 actions. Now, I need to get my Pathfinder into play. I've got enough. I could do it, I think. No, I don't. Well, okay. What I need to do, I think, take an action to play my emergency cash. It's going to cost me 1 resource due to torturous chords, but I gain 3. Let's do that first. So we'll play the emergency cash. So we lose a resource, but we gain 3 resources. Okay, then we can play our Pathfinder. So we spend a resource there, and it's going to spend 4 for the Pathfinder. Okay, that was our second action. Now we can use the Pathfinder because we are not engaged with an enemy to move to Gare d'Orsay. And our third action, we move to Gardens of Luxembourg. Okay, good stuff. So we've got one thing left on Torturous Chords. We're gonna have to, if we can get the double path, we're like 2 resources away from double Pathfinder, which would be amazing. So during the enemy phase, he'll double hunt to Notre Dame. And we'll draw a card. There's another dodge. Okay, nice. Gain a resource, add a doom. Now normally we would advance because we've hit the doom threshold, but Torturous or Spires of Carcosa is in play, so we have to wait 2 more turns. And we will simply draw a card. Draw an encounter card, which is, there's the Screeching Bayaki. Okay. Screeching Bayaki is fight 3. Health 4, 3 evade, monster Bayaki prey, lowest remaining sanity. It's a hunter, and while they engage with an investigator with a remaining sanity 4 or fewer, Screeching Bayaki gets +1 fight and +1 evade. Okay, so we don't, that's why we took the sanity on Dr. Mylan Christopher, so we would not trigger that text. So we are a 5 versus 3. It's going to take us 2 actions to take care of it. And then we're going to need to try to get out of here. So first action, 5 versus 3. He doesn't have retaliate. No, he does not. Chaos Bag says -3. That hurts a lot. That's a miss. Now we can actually just move one space away from the organist if we can. So we're going to keep fighting the Bayaki. Second action, 5 versus 3. Skull, that's a -5. Okay. That is a problem. That is a big problem. Shoot. We are in trouble here. We need a clue to automatically evade the organist. Okay. This is tough. So the problem here is we can't kill this Bayaki this turn. We're going to take 2 horror plus another 3 from the organist. So we need to be able to dodge one of them. But the dodge is going to cost us 2 resources. So I think what we need to do he won't attack us, but he will engage us. Shoot. Yeah, those 2 misses are going to cost us pretty badly here. Okay, let's if I play my shortcut to move to Gare d'Orsay, the organist will double move, but he won't attack me, but he will engage me, which then screws up my machete. And I don't have a clue. Oh, this is bad. Yeah, this is the problem I find with Roland sometimes, is that if he doesn't kill the enemy, he has no backup plan. He's got no, his agility is too low to evade it, so he's sort of, things spiral downward pretty quickly because then he just gets creamed by You know, I've got my 2 dodges, but it's going to cost me a... I can't stay put because I can stay put, but I'm going to take... Okay, what happens if I stay put? Organist moves in. I dodge him. I take 2 sanity, 2 horror, and a health and a damage from the screeching Bayaki. But then the torturous chords is gone. I'll have 2 resources that I can play a working the hunch. I can automatically evade the organist next turn, which would give me a chance to kill the Bayaki and get the hell out of there. I think that's what we've got to do. Okay. This could be it. We'll see. What's the other option? Move to Notre Dame. Gets -1 fight there. I'd rather hang on to the... do I hang on to the shortcut or not? This is a tough puzzle here. If I move there, I hit it for 2. Dodge. Grab the clue next turn. Evade the organist. Hit it again. Grab the clue. Okay. I think what I have to do, because I'm going to get hit at least once here by this screeching Bayaki. But he'll automatically engage me when I move there. That's the problem. Yeah. Okay, we stay put. We'll use our 3rd action to attack the screeching Bayaki. We're going 5 versus 3. Chaos Bag says -3. Oh, Chaos Bag, you're killing me here. You're killing me. Alright, we go to the enemy phase. Organist moves in. Engages me. He attacks. I have to spend 2 for my dodge due to the torturous chords, but at least it's gone now. Okay. I still take 2 horror and a damage from the screeching Bayaki. Okay. That's all for the enemy phase. I draw a card. Okay, art student, I'd love to get you down, but we've got bigger issues to deal with at the moment. Gain a resource. We add a doom. We're still a turn away from disengage. If we could get to that thing, we could disengage. Ugh. Let's see. This could be, if this is an enemy, we're done, I think. So let's see. Encounter card. Oh my god! Oh, talk about pouring salt into the wound. Holy smokes. Okay, well. Double screeching Bayaki. That is... that's bad. I think that is going to probably end our game. We can gain a couple of... we can get our actions. I'm think I'm dead either way because I can't. My machete simply isn't going to be able to kill either Screeching Bayaki this turn. The best I can do is pay my 2 resources to play my Working the Hunch to grab this clue, and then I can use the free trigger to spend a clue to automatically evade the Organist. And then yeah, so we automatically evade the Organist, and then we but we're in no position to kill 2 Screeching Bayakis. We've got 3 actions, but we can only do 3 damage. So then I don't have a dodge, and I die. Well, that game went south in a hurry. Things were going fairly well until we drew double Screeching Bayaki. 23 cards, too. Well, the strategy was working. I mean, I was able to stay. You know, if I could have gotten to Gare d'Orsay and he's at Gardens, and then I flip to Montmartre and he flips to Le Marais, that strategy works quite well. I was able to do it here between Opera and Gardens, but unfortunately the encounter deck decided to drop 2 enemies on me back to back, or a couple of enemies anyway. And I was 1 doom away from disengaging with them. Unfortunately, that spires on Opera. Now, maybe I should have gotten rid of the spire. I should have tried to get rid of the spires, but I was trying to get the Pathfinder into play. Hard to say. I could move. Well, I could play my shortcut to move to Notre Dame, and then they're -1 fight, but they're +1 fight, so yeah, we still can't do enough damage to yeah, well, that's a bit of a shame. So that is the conviction mode. Unfortunately, we didn't even get past the first agenda this time around. That was a little unfortunate. I was hoping to put on a better show than that, but yeah, 8 turns. The encounter deck dropped a bomb on us with the Screeching Bayakis, and I just, you know, missing those 3 attacks. If I kill the Bayaki, at least I still have a chance to kill the other one and get out. But yeah, with 2 of them, there's not a whole lot I can do about that. Yeah, you know, maybe I should have tried to clear the spires, but I don't know. Getting that Pathfinder out was just felt much more important. And you know, when things are going well, you know, when you're able to keep the Organist at arm's length and just bounce between those locations, you know that you're going to encounter a Bayaki at some point. And unfortunately, we encountered 2 of them at the same time, and we don't have the weapons for it, unfortunately. So that is going to do it for this playthrough. And yeah, that's a little disappointing. I did get rid of 1 counter off of Cover Up. There was one game I played recently where I had Cover Up, I had 2 Torturous Chords, I had the Organist, Jordan, and maybe 1 other enemy in play. It was bad news. So yeah, this was bad news too, unfortunately. That is going to do it for me today. If you enjoyed this playthrough, let me know. You can like, comment, and subscribe. If you need to contact me, I can be reached at manfromlang@gmail.com. I'm also on Twitter at manfromlang. Until the stars are right, keep your shotgun close and your elder sign closer. Take care out there, and happy investigating.